Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger, my friends. In today's Guilty Gear Strive video, we're talking about Nagoriyuki, and we're talking about the blood gauge. It's a very complex mechanic that's not quite fully understood, and I'm going to do my best in this video to help you understand all the aspects of it. I did make a guide about this in one of the earlier betas, and the mechanic has changed a lot since then. Mostly for the better, although some bad, and we're going to go over all their particulars. A lot of the goal of the blood gauge is to crank it up. You want to get it a little bit higher up, but the big downside is you don't want to get it up all the way because things start going real bad when you do. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you all the particulars of the blood gauge, a lot of the upsides for raising the blood gauge, and why you never, ever want to go berserk. Trust me, you don't ever want to go berserk, and I'll show you why. So before we get to talking about like cool buffs and like a lot of changes, we got to start with the basics, right? What is the blood gauge in and of itself? It starts at 0, nothing goes up, nothing goes down. It only goes up when you start doing a lot of his special moves, and these special moves are as follows. His teleport, quarter circle forward kick or quarter circle back kick, and these will raise it. These raise it the least of all the special moves. His quarter circle back and heavy slash move, that's this lunging slash here, which is also very handy because it's one of the few moves in the game that is neutral on block, so no one has any advantage or disadvantage. His Dragon Punch motion and heavy slash, as this is a massive 2-hitting strike, does a lot of damage. And quarter circle forward slash, that is his projectile. And all these raise the blood gauge. Now all these moves but the teleport, they all raise the blood gauge much more significantly. Thanks to the fine folks at Dustloop, I can actually give you some hard numbers here. The gauges here, each of the 3 segments is basically 100 points. So 300 points and you go berserk. The teleports cost 43 blood by themselves. So I guess you could say like 43% of a bar. Now keep in mind too, the meter will always be slowly draining. So even if it doesn't visually look quite like 40%, trust me, with the drain and all that, it's there. And all the bigger swings here. So the projectile, the Dragon Punch motion double hitter here, the big swing, all that. These all cost 90 points each. So basically 4 uses will make you go berserk, and that's all there is to it, as you can see right here. So you don't get to use these moves all too often, but good thing there is a give and take to this. It's kind of hard to miss, but you might notice Nagoriyuki's got this giant sword, right? And luck be with us, all these sword normals here, on hit or on block, they actually help lower the gauge. So if we do our base little teleport forward here, as we see the gauge rise up, right? And if we were to hit the enemy with a big old sword normal right after, as you can see, it barely builds up and it goes right down immediately, right? So all the sword normals help drain the blood gauge. Now, the heavy slash sword normals do a lot more drain than the slash normals. In fact, you have a little visual guide to this. These slash normals, you can see like a droplet of blood come back to Nagoriyuki, right? So that is the blood gauge being drained. However, a heavy slash normal has 3 blood droplets. So it's just a little indicator here just to show you, okay, you're getting more blood back from these heavy slash normals versus the regular slash normals. Now, when the gauge is up here, a regular slash, it'll bring it down just a little bit, not too much. However, a heavy slash will have a pretty profound impact on the bar. As you can see here, now draining at a pretty decent rate. The drain doesn't last forever before it goes back to its base drain, which is already happening right now, pretty slow, but it does help out. Now, one thing to specifically note about this is all these normals drain less on block versus hit. Now, they'll still return some blood to you, which is better than nothing, right? But not quite the big reduction that a solid hit will get you. So you are much more incentivized to get especially the heavy slash on hit. Now, there is a lot of things to help with that, like say our quarter circle back heavy slash. For the most part, even in combos and all that, as soon as you use it, it for the most part guarantees forward heavy slash to command normal, which means a lot of the blood use that you used up doing that special will be reduced. And since the return of the blood on a lot of your normals is gradual, it also works in reverse a little bit. So like you can do a heavy slash first and then do a blood draining move. And then as you can see, the gauge basically doesn't go quite as high immediately and kind of immediately goes back down. Versus like if you just did it raw, you would see the gauge drastically go up first because the blood reduction effect from the normal being first is already immediately taking place. And just to very specifically note, close slash, this move here, he does not use the main sword. Only the normals using the main sword reduce blood. This one he's using like his little side sword there, so that does not reduce blood in any way, shape, or form. But all the base normals here, they reduce blood. All the heavy slashes, all that kind of stuff, they reduce blood. And even the jumping normals, yes, they all reduce blood as well. Okay, so that's a lot of the technical fiddly bits, right? So we now know we do specials to raise our blood gauge, and we can use normals to help lower the blood gauge. What about the cool stuff? So one of the very interesting things about the blood gauge is the more you fill it, well, frankly, the better you get. Now, when it's not filled, at least one bar full, you're just regular old Nagoriyuki, right? Nothing changes. The only thing, I guess, that is different is you can more freely spam moves before you go Berserk, right? But other than that, nothing changes. However, starting at level 1, this is where things start happening. So here we are now, and let's just look at regular heavy slash. So it does 58 damage against Nagoriyuki. Keep in mind he's a higher defense character, but still 58 damage, right? Now, if we raise our blood gauge to level 1, it does 62 damage. Maybe you already can see where I'm going to go with this, right? Now say we raise it up to level 2. Does 67 damage now. And screw it, let's just go Berserk, right? Let's go nuts. How much does it do now? Does 88 damage. So every progressive level you are up in the blood gauge, all of your heavy slash normals, be it whatever they may be, they all do more damage across the board. That's not even the only thing that gets a damage buff. In fact, if you go for your command grab, and we'll talk more about that in a bit, 77 damage, right? Now let's raise our blood gauge a little bit. So, okay, we're now in blood gauge level 2. 96 damage. So every progressive tier you're up as well, your command grab does more damage. Okay, this is cool. We're digging it. So we do more damage with our command grab and all of our heavy slash normals every level we're up. Is that it? No, the bonuses keep on coming. So let's use heavy slash again, right? So roughly from this far away is about the max range, right? For a little further yet, hey, we whiff. That sucks. But say we're up a couple blood gauges, right? Are we going to whiff now? Nope. So just like the damage, every blood tier you're up, the range of your heavy slash normals goes up. So while you may miss from here at level 0, once you're level 1, you connect. And once you're level 2, well, oh my lordy, things you can just hit from very far away. It's ridiculous. And of course, naturally, when you go Berserk, well, it basically becomes a home run swing, as you can hit from like most of the screen away. It's absolutely ridiculous. Okay, so wow, we get more damage every tier we're going up, and we get more range every tier we're going up. And by the way, yo, crouch heavy slash, when you're like level 2 or whatever, the range is ridiculous. So that's gotta be it, right? No, there's still more bonuses. As all your heavy slashes get more damage, they get more range, and they get faster. So let's look at something like standing kick into forward heavy slash. So no matter how you swing it, it just isn't a combo. I'm sorry, it's not a combo, right? Unless, what if we were, say, blood gauge level 1, then all of a sudden, it's a natural combo. Why? Because every tier of blood we're up, our moves get faster. Our heavy slash moves literally just get faster. Like this move here at level 0 is 17 frame startup. And at level 1, it is 16 frame startup. And that is, even though it's only a singular frame, sure, that is exactly enough to make it a combo. Now, what about something like crouch slash into stand heavy slash? That's not a combo. Like, you can make it a combo on counter hit, I guess. Like, you know, a lot of things can be combos on counter hit. But by itself, it is not a combo. So if you counter hit them, sure, but if you just catch them walking forward and you poke their toes, well then that's all there is to it. Also at max range of the poke, well, you just miss. End of story. But let's say we're at blood gauge level 2 now. And what's going to happen here? Not only did that become a natural 2-hit combo, we can also basically get it from the exact max range because the range buff is so severe and so drastic, it can now reach at the exact end of the poke, making this one of the most invaluable poke tools in the game at that specific level of blood gauge. Beforehand, you know, usage is all right, but with that knowledge imparted to you, now you know all of a sudden, you're a poking god if you're at level 2 blood, because every one of these is just a big old hit. Now, of course, naturally, one of the byproducts of getting something like this is, well, your blood's going to be refunded, right? You just got 2 big hits in, and your blood's going to drain. You're probably going to go back down to the next level, at which point at level 1, that can connect, that range, but it's no longer a natural combo. So you got to think, okay, now we have all these crazy factors. We get more damage on all of our heavy slash normals. We get more range on all of our heavy slash normals. And all of our heavy slash normals get faster. So basically, you have new potential combo routes as well, depending on what blood level you are at. So make no mistake, in no uncertain terms, every blood level you are up, Nagoriyuki is simply a stronger character. And at level 2 specifically, he is an incredible threat. But he's an incredible threat with a problem, because you do that next special move, and that'll take you over the line, and we don't want to go over the line. Alright, now before we talk about going crazy and going berserk, we do have to talk the command grab, because this is a very, very, very big part of blood management. So obviously, on top of, he takes a bite out of you, right, and all that cool stuff, he lowers your blood. So if we really crank up that blood, and then we bite him, see how fast that goes down. And going with the command grab is one of 2 things in this game that can save you from going berserk. So right there, we were guaranteed to go berserk, right? But as soon as you take a bite out of the enemy, no matter how much more blood gauge was to be gained, it stops right there. Now, in previous older builds of the games and the betas, this super specifically, would also stop the blood gauge from going up. However, that is no longer the case. If you're to go berserk, and yeah, you do your cool super right beforehand, it's not gonna save you. Now, this move actually drains a lot of blood in and of itself, but it doesn't drain fast enough to overwrite what's gonna happen next. So you just gotta beware. Yeah, it used to work that way in older builds of the game, but it no longer works that way. But suffice to say, anytime you bite the enemy, not only do you lose all your blood, you get to go crazy for a little bit, right? Because while the blood's draining, it's not going up, and then all of a sudden you can start spamming specials and all that kind of stuff. Now, there is one other way while we're here to prevent you from going berserk. So if you know you're about to go berserk, you can faultless defense. This isn't going to save you, by the way. I'm sorry to say, but it can delay the inevitable. So as long as you're doing faultless defense, you will not go berserk. However, the second you let go, you will. So if for whatever reason you just need to hold on that split longer, split second longer or whatever, that is an option on the table for you. And now finally the berserk state. Now this is one, I see a lot of people, they think it's cool, they want to go berserk, right? Because, you get a unique super while you're in berserk state, and not only that, your normals, they get big old range buff. From the berserk state, your regular stand heavy slash is further reaching. That's how insane the range buffs get when you're berserk state, right? But here, let me destroy any illusions you have of the berserk state being somewhat desirable to go into, because if you go berserk, you're one step closer to losing the game if you're not going to lose the game outright immediately. So first things first, in case you're not aware, when you go berserk, you're only in the state till the bars drain back down, and during that state, you will lose half of your life. So I didn't touch him, and he lost half of his life. That's basically the minimum bad thing that's going to happen to you. And while there's a way to get out of the state early, which we'll talk about in a second, which is also bad, that's a lot of life to lose for nothing, right? Now, it can't kill you. It'll always leave you at 1 hit point, right? So it won't ever kill you, but if you're at 1 hit point, well, the round's basically over anyways. There is only one safe way to enter the Berserk state. If you enter the Berserk state basically in any way other than this, you are dead. So the only safe way is to make them block it. The move going Berserk actually has a hitbox, and it forces a knockback on block. And that knockback is also negative on block, right? But for the most part, you're not going to be punished for it. Now, God forfend, you whiff, right? What happens then? Okay, so now the move's going to whiff, right? The Berserk state's entering it, it's going to whiff. Cool. But from full screen, we got to be safe from full screen at least, right? Like, I got Potemkin here. What's Potemkin going to do? Just walk his way over and punish, right? He can't even run. Well, let me show you exactly what Potemkin can do from full screen, let alone being any closer. I'm not even going to touch Potemkin until he goes Berserk. Okay? What can Potemkin do? Oh, that says punish. So look how much life you just lost. And that was guaranteed. Potemkin is guaranteed from anywhere on the screen to get that. That's a punish. That is not something you can escape in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah. And once again, that's Potemkin. What do you think someone that can run can do to you? So this is how much life you lost off that, right? And I probably could have done a way more optimal combo that probably just like brought you to 1 hit point instead, right? But yeah, so that's what someone can run can do. So effectively, there is 0 safe possible range in the game you can safely go Berserk from without the enemy just beating your head in. Want to hit this home? The Berserk state is not something you want to enter. Now, I already know the next thing you're thinking, but rooflemonger, I can do my big old, blood rage only super, right? That'll get me out of dodge. Because, if the enemy tries to hit it, like, oh my god, they'll take so much damage. And if they block it, they'll take at least a lot of chip and at least gets me out of the state, right? Now, here's the question. How safe do you think you are when you do that? So, we'll try another full screen example with Potemkin, the slowest character in the game. Let's see if I can punish this move from full screen. Okay, here we are, baby. Full screen. No way on earth Potemkin punished it. Oh, no. So that was a punish from full screen from the slowest character in the game. And that was a lot of damage, and you probably lost some life as well. So, suffice to say, I don't need another example, a character that can run can very easily get to you as well. Even from full screen, this super will not save you. Yeah, it may curtail the bleeding, I guess, a little bit, right, of your life, but pretty much every character in the game can punish this from full screen as well. And there's some other stuff, sure, like, yeah, it does a lot of chip damage. Sure, right? And in fact, all of his sword normals do chip damage while he's in this state, and significant for the heavy slash normals, right? But once again, you can just follow his defense, all that, and take 0 chip. The enemy has 0 incentive to chase you down. Either they're going to let you lose half your life, and they can negate any chip damage you can do while, you're doing your normals, or you do something stupid like that super, thinking you're going to get out of it, and then they just follow his defense, and then they get a guaranteed punish on it anywhere on the screen. So I hope this is really built into you, the fact, don't go into Berserk state. It is truly a last resort. You want to be close to Berserk state. You're at your strongest when you're at level 2 blood specifically, but going over the line on multiple fronts is just gonna get you killed. And that's the blood gauge mechanic. It's a very unique mechanic. It incentivizes basically riding the lightning. You want to be Price is right? Closest without going over. That's kind of the main deal there. The more you go crazy, the more you will be rewarded, absolutely. But if you go a little too far, that is more than likely the end of the round right there. The mechanic breathes a lot of life and a lot of depth to the character on multiple levels. And if you want to play Nagoriyuki, I think it's truly one of the most rewarding mechanics in any fighting game. Because it just adds so many layers of the character. It's a lot more than just, big normal go burr, right? But, If you're level 2 or something, big normal, really go burr, and you can really go crazy. So that's pretty cool and pretty fun. But anyways, my friends, that is Nagoriyuki, and that is the blood gauge. And with that, I hope this video has helped you understand the character better. And with all that said, that's the end of the video, so thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. Go out and play some Guilty Gear.